Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to On the Verge, your conservative voice of Southern Oregon and the truth in podcasting. Glad to have everybody back tonight. We have a lot of really important guests here, actually more than I think we've ever had on at one time. And there's some familiar faces here and some up and coming that will be familiar faces. Today is Tuesday, October 7th, and I'll always introduce the sponsors first if I can get these guys to quit screwing around over here. Our sponsors, Diamond Lake Mini Storage. They are here in Roseburg, and they are a major sponsor of this podcast. They've covered most all of them so far that we've had, and this is somewhere around our 23rd or 22nd podcast, I think. We are live, of course. Also, Twin Peaks Off-Road, my company here in Roseburg. We do, you'll see some commercials for us a little bit later. And then Little Mill Media, who actually produces this podcast, and they're the guys on the other side of the camera right now looking back at us. And like I tell everybody at the beginning of every one of my podcasts, if you don't like what we have to say, come down here and see Justin. He will put together a podcast just for you, and you don't have to listen to me. But if you like what we have to say, thank you for joining us tonight. And we've got a lot to say. So first, I want to introduce my guests, and I'll start with my guest here with us. And to my right is Danielle Bethell. And Danielle, just give us a quick who you are and what you're doing.
Yeah, thanks. So, hi, everybody. I'm Danielle Bethell. I'm a Marion County Commissioner, and I'm running for governor on the Republican ticket.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. It's been a busy day down here in, what we call it, like
God's country.
Yes. Although I think Lake County has a pretty big competition for you there, because when I drove into Lake County for the first time, I actually got emotional.
It's all right, but it'll tell you it's prettier where he lives.
That's fair.
I live just down the road from Danielle, so he's one of my commissioners.
Yeah. And to her right is our co-host here, Trent.
Hey, everybody, Trent Drake. I am the Douglas County Central Committee Chair and Virgil's campaign manager.
Thanks for joining us. And online tonight, we have, we'll start with Jason.
Yes, good to be here. Jason Williams, Taxpayer Association of Oregon and OregonWatchdog.com.
Thanks for joining us. And of course, the one and only, the real deal, Diehl. Introduce
Great
yourself.
to be here. Yeah, I represent House District 17, East Salem through the majestic Santiam Canyon, the most beautiful part of the state, as we all know. Home of Danielle Bethell, who will be an amazing governor.
Yeah.
But tonight I'm here representing NoTaxOR.com.
Hey, can I just cheer?
Referendum on the yes, do some cheers.
So thank you for joining us.
Let's kill this outrageous tax and fee bill.
I'm ready.
Governor's ramming down our throats.
And this is how we're going to do it. Also, I am your host, Virgil Osborne, House District 2 representative from the most beautiful district in the state, and no matter what these two say. But again, I am always happy to have everybody on the show. Now, tonight is going to be, we will have, and they are open now. You can comment, you can ask questions. We'll try to keep up with them the best we can and answer them as we go. But the intention of tonight's show, we have two real intentions here. Number one is to introduce Danielle again. She's been on our show before. She's been really busy, so we're going to get an update from her on where she's at with her governor's race. And then the probably the most important thing that we're going to cover tonight is we want people to understand where we're at with the referendum and with the transportation tax and what we can do next. What is our next move? And thankfully, we have two of the big time players here with us online, and they're going to be able to kind of cover some of that. So I think first thing, Danielle, I think we'll just get an update from you on where you're at in your governor's race, and it looks like the field's starting to pick up a little bit.
Yeah. So in Oregon, the traditional cycle is people start announcing in October if they're going to run for governor or a statewide seat in the following year. And for me, I think that we need to do something different in order to have a different outcome. So my race announced in March, which a lot of people were like, "Why are you out so early?" And I can tell you that in the last 5 months, I've been able to cover a considerable amount of Oregon territory and meet with different jurisdictions, different GOPs in counties and jurisdictions that have never had attention from the governor's race before. I think grassroots means the real definition of grassroots, like boots on the ground, getting it done, shaking hands, meeting people.
How many counties have you been in?
I have been in 19 of the 36 counties.
That's impressive.
And I mean, in my role as commissioner and formerly the president of the Association of Oregon Counties, every single county in Oregon more than once. I'm working on the list of cities. While I won't probably make it to every city, I intend to make it to a bulk of those cities by invitation. So those of you who are watching, if you want me to come to a community near you, you need to reach out and set something up so that way I know where to be and who to talk to. I have been, it's kind of an emotional roller coaster when you run for something statewide and in Oregon. there hasn't been a jurisdiction yet that I've been into that hasn't said the same thing. They're frustrated. There's despair. They don't have hope. They feel whatever. And when I leave, there's hope. There's a sense of understanding about what the governor's job is and what I do as a commissioner and how this is essentially just a promotion for me. I already run a government, a large one, the 5th largest in the state, actually. And in the last 40 years, I mean, Vicatillo was the last Republican 38 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's the last governor that we had that ran the governor's office as a business, as a CEO, and we need to get back to that. The reason Oregon is failing on every single topic, education, the economy, healthcare, housing, is because we've always had a policymaker in the last 38 years go into that office and really know nothing about the structure of government and how to make government work for the people. I know actually how to do that. And when I came into this race, I was a little anxious about what do I know? And I tell you, I am reaffirmed every time I come into a jurisdiction and somebody asks me a question and I actually have the answer or a suggestion of opportunity to help them meet their goals, whether it's a city or a county. I'm excited. I have a lot of energy. Today has been a great day for campaigning. I was all over Lane County. Now I'm in Douglas County. It's going to be a long night, but I'm here for it.
So I have a question for you. That is, I know in the legislature, we have a lot of previous county commissioners that have bumped up the ladder. I think the legislature is where county commissioners go to die. They try to get rid of them and they send them on up the ladder. I'm just being funny. But when you're a county commissioner, you have to be fairly nonpartisan.
Ish.
Ish.
And my county, we're all partisan Republicans, and we have been for over 40 years.
Okay.
What I have to be is a person present in my space, and I have to have relationships, and I should want to, with every neighbor in my jurisdiction, regardless of their party. I think that when you're a leader, you have a seat at the table for everybody. We haven't had that for a long time in Oregon. It's always been one-sided, and it's time for that to go away. I might not agree with everything on the left, but there are people who do, and those people matter to me.
Well, and in the legislature, and I'm sure we'll get into more of that here as we go and when our other guests start talking about transportation tax, but we really haven't had a seat at the table as the minority party. They have gone out ways, I call them the bully party. And I don't hate Democrats at all. I think the majority of Democrats, especially the majority of Democrats in Douglas County, are decent people that are just dealing with the same daily issues that we do: loss of jobs, loss of businesses, taxes. None of them like that. But there's a group of folks. I don't know if I'd call them ultra liberal or if I would just call them. I don't know what I call them, but they seem to be the bully party, and they are, and particularly the unions. They are running the legislature right now. And unfortunately, we take a heat for that. And boy, it would be a blessing to have a governor that had veto power.
Yeah, I agree.
That would be amazing in the legislature if we had just one of the three branches was, not ultra liberal.
Wouldn't it be great if we had a governor that understood basic math?
Well, there's that.
And here's the reason I say that is because the governor's kitty, the bank account that the governor operates, is taxpayer dollars. Income tax generated revenue is what she's supposed to declare the governor's recommended budget on the legislature. You all are supposed to review that and make good decisions. It's like she doesn't know where money comes from in this state. It comes out of my paycheck. My husband and I own a small business. It comes off of his back. And they're overspending at a rate that we can't sustain in this state. And we can blame the federal administration for future oncoming deficits. But I will tell you, look back at the 2011 legislative session and look at the decision made by the legislators who oversubscribed to Medicaid and how that cliff was coming at a very fast train's pace. And here we are today. The federal administration has made some serious decisions around finances in America, which I support. I voted for. But this state was already headed for a financial cliff way before Donald Trump became the president. And we must acknowledge that, and we must right that ship.
Well, and to that point, and Ed, you can probably speak on this a little bit, but we just had our meeting to kind of give us a budget update on where we're at, and it was ugly. I mean, we're down $333 million, and that really didn't even consider the transportation tax issue. And and the funny thing was, we're going through these spreadsheets. They're talking about where the majority of money comes from in the state, and it comes from income tax. Well, we lost 11,000 jobs, so guess what happens now? We lose the income tax. I don't know, Ed, what's your thoughts on it? I don't know where we're going to go if we continue to lose businesses.
There's two different things. There's the taxes we're raising, and we are taking a hit. But I look back and I go, we're still making record revenue. You still have record revenue coming into the state while school enrollment's down. we actually saw a decline in population. I just go back. It's priorities. It's priorities and how we're using the money. So that's the number one thing for me. But we have challenges. You know, I was on a panel of coordinating the CCO panel, the healthcare panel yesterday, talking about the impact of Medicaid. So about 95% of the impact of this HR1 is all around Medicaid. And like Danielle said, we have leveraged Medicaid like nobody's business.
Yeah.
So when other states get a cold, we're on life support
Right.
when feds make an adjustment, and that's what we're seeing. So I just take it pragmatically. It is what it is.
Yeah.
To me, it's an opportunity to right-size some programs, to reverse some regulation that's really making Oregon exceptionally expensive to do business in. So take this as an opportunity.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think it's going to take a while. You're right, to turn the ship. I mean, you don't turn a battleship around in a yacht harbor. You got to take it out to sea, and you got to slowly turn it. It takes some time. Dan, I think his name was on our comments, and he said accountability, and that is the right word: accountability. The problem is that accountability falls back on the majority party. And majority party, I honestly, Ed, and you see this too, is we're sitting on the House floor. I don't think they know what they're doing at all. I mean, I honestly don't.
I agree.
We sit in committee. And it's like I could just throw my hands up and I go, how could anybody vote yes on something that dumb? But yet they do it.
Well, because the answer is, and I said this on the Rick Dancer show, was on last week to Rick. I've been around politics for 20 years as an advocate and as a commissioner. I was a former chamber director. Every time I go into a legislative session, there is hardly any legislators that I can sit down with in my 15-minute allocation and know that I can start where I left off. I'm always starting from scratch. Mm-hmm. And it's really disappointing to me that they don't want to understand how government functions. It's like they're there to be the end all be all of whatever their future plan is. But they don't want to understand the foundation that they're dealing with today, right now. And it's exhausting. And it's such a burden on all levels of government, which is why you see failure across the state at the rate that we see it at.
I feel like a part of it is they're afraid of their own party. And that's the wonderful thing, and sometimes the worst thing about being in the Republican Party is that we're not afraid of our party. We stand up for our rights, no matter what. First, it's like, and Democrats, they don't stand up for their rights.
Yeah.
They stand up for their party, which is why they win. Frankly, they spend a hell of a lot less time arguing than we do.
Well, but the truth is, and we saw this session, when they do stand up to their party. Look at Senator Meek and Representative Hartman.
Yeah.
Both of those individuals, Democrats, stood up against their party, against House Bill 2025, the original transportation package, and both were threatened for primary. Yeah. And they came after Hartman, I mean, with both barrels. And she's now leaving to go county commissioner, which, by the way, I think she'll be a very good county commissioner. And her and I don't agree on everything politically, but we understand that our job is to serve the people in front of us, not an agenda that's designed by partisan systems. Yeah. It's time to get past that.
Well, and I think
also that people are afraid to not just challenge the party, but challenge big government.
Right.
Because there is so much waste. We're all going to see it now that we have to cut the budget. You know, Ed brought up about Medicaid. Hey, look, Oregon was giving Medicaid money for refrigerators and, yoga classes and all kinds of things related.
I saw that.
Yeah. And the health department, we once won an award for signing up more people than anyone else to welfare. And we were given an award by the Obama administration. So we're used to handing out free stuff. And now it's all going to change. And we got to be able to challenge government.
There's a real philosophical difference. Folks on our side, we believe that our rights are granted by God. And the government is there to protect our rights. They don't grant us rights. They believe that the government is there to grant rights. And the bigger the government and the more involved the government, supposedly the better things are. And I do serve with a lot of people that have just a philosophical difference about the role of government. And I serve with a lot of people that have never worked a private job.
Yeah.
They've never worked in private practice. They have a totally different perspective of government's role. And I come at it with a completely different perspective, as most conservatives do. And so that's where the battle is. Plus, what amazes me is how often they take votes that go against the popular position of Oregonians. And it's because of special interests that they're obligated to. And I see it over and over again. And I didn't realize how bad it was until I got in there. And it's outrageous.
I'm with you, Ed. I don't think I realized how bad it was even up until about the beginning of this long session. When I saw the SEIU people in the house, I mean, the SEIU folks don't stop by my office. They did once. It didn't work out well for them. They don't come to my office. Of course, there was the whole postcard thing that happened, which you called them out on.
Yeah, they used to stop by my office. I welcome everybody, and but this year they came out with this a grade. They scored every legislator.
Yeah,
they gave me a D, and I think you got an F, Virgil. I got a D.
For
Yeah,
what?
that really pissed me off. I'm trying to work with them.
that's a good thing.
And then they score me. So I said, I'm not talking to you guys again if you're going to treat me that way.
You know what? If SEIU comes and scores me, I want an F every time. Every single time. And I'm amazed you got a D. Aren't you? Well, you're an establishment Republican now, so you're
Right. No, I did work with them on a couple things, and I really try and see things from all perspectives. And some of the things that we're asking for were fine, but I'm done with those guys, especially seeing how they behaved this last session. It was unbelievable and inexcusable, and it's part of the reason that we have an unsustainable system. Our social welfare network, 1 in 3 Oregonians are on it.
Yep.
We rely on federal subsidies. We take in way more in federal transfers than we pay into the system.
Right.
A debtor state. A lot of other states are too. Why is that? Because we depend on debt financing to keep our government going. What that means is we have a welfare system that is debt financed by my kids and my grandkids. That's unsustainable.
Yeah.
You cannot, you could debt finance a war, you can debt finance a bridge. You can't debt finance ongoing social welfare services. It doesn't work. And so this is kind of a reckoning, I think, for Oregon to try and right size some stuff.
I mean, at some point, the state, if it doesn't change directions, the state's going to be in financial trouble that we can't reach. We can't. There's no way.
Well, it's not just the state, though. I mean, what the decisions that are being made in the legislature impact local jurisdictions. The service delivery system is counties.
Yes.
And when the state turns itself upside down, which it has done, they start shaving dollars off the investment of service systems of care. So, for example, in the 2025 session, community corrections took a haircut, a substantial one.
Yeah.
We've been underfunding prevention care or public health care by $700 million a year for over a decade. The problem is that Democrats aren't very creative and they're not interested in doing really hard work. That's been my experience in the last 5 years as a commissioner. When counties come to the table with solutions of like, hey, we need to get ahead of this and here's our budget and our path forward, they go, oh no, like, how are we going to do that? They want to be reactive because it's controlling and instills fear, and people have to kind of thrive or not thrive, I suppose, in that space. And if we go about the way that I've suggested and the way other counties have suggested, other conservatives are saying, hey, we need to be more proactive. We need to invest in prevention and in public safety systems, et cetera, a whole laundry list. They balk at that because then it takes the control away from them. I grew up in extreme poverty and I navigated these warehousing systems, grew up through Section 8, all through the Medicaid system. And I can tell you from a first person's perspective, how difficult it is to break out of that. And that's intentional. That's by design.
Yep.
And it wasn't until I was around my late 20s, actually at 30 years old, I changed from being a Democrat to a Republican. I had finished my college degree and I started a business.
That's what most people do.
Holy shit. I was like, these people are taking all my money. I get like, why am I even doing this? But then I started doing my research on the ideology and the oppression and the bullshit that they feed you. And people just feed into that out of fear. I tell you what, I don't have any more fear and I'm just pissed off.
So we're going to have to cut to a break, but we'll agree with that. He said something about the state being upside down, and that reminded me of the greatest speech of all time on the House floor, spoken by Ed Diehl, the upside down speech. I go back and watch that for inspiration. Sometimes that's like, oh wow. But listen, we're gonna cut for about a 60-second break to do some commercials and give some other people a chance to log on. So everybody.
You're in the big leagues, Virgil. You got commercial breaks?
We have commercial breaks, yeah. You got to take care of our sponsors. We'll be back in about 60 seconds, and stay with us. And I see the number of the people online live are still growing. So hang with us, and we will be back in 60 seconds. I want to thank one of our sponsors of this show, Diamond Lake Mini Storage. If you need a little extra space, I will always recommend Diamond Lake Mini Storage. They have 45 brand new units ranging from 50 to 250 square feet with a safe and secure and clean facility. But they're more than just a storage business. They proudly support our local community through 4-H, UAC, Meals on Wheels, and other great programs that make Roseburg stronger. Ask about their move-in specials and visit them on roseburgforrent.com. That's roseburgforrent.com, storage with heart right here at home.
Is your 4x4 ready for the trail? Twin Peaks Off-Road is your first stop for maintenance, repairs, and custom upgrades. From differential services to winch installs, we do it all. Fast, reliable, and built for adventure. Don't wait for breakdowns in the backcountry. Call Twin Peaks Off-Road today at 541-900-0015 or visit twinpeaksoffroad.net. Keep your 4x4 off the roads and in the adventure.
All right, welcome back to On the Verge, your conservative voice of Southern Oregon. And I'm not saying there's not some progressive voices of Southern Oregon, but I'm saying this is the conservative voice of Southern Oregon. We're going to tell you the truth when we speak. So thank you, everybody, for joining us, and thank you for staying with us. We have a lot of people online watching now. This is pretty awesome. We have some great guests, which you've already introduced, but now we're going to get into the second part of our podcast. We're going to talk a little bit about the transportation bill that the governor just passed and basically shoved down our throats. That's going to raise gas prices 6 cents a gallon and taxes. Amazingly horrible bill. But we have folks on the right side of this thing, myself included, and Danielle too, as well as Ed Diehl. We have some folks here from taxpayers. We're going to fight this thing, and we have a way to do it. So tonight is an informational podcast just to talk about what needs to happen and how we're going to go about it. And I don't know, Ed, if you want to go first, or Jason, whichever, you might give a little background on what you're up to.
I'll give a little background and then let Jason chime in here. But yeah, I think most of your listeners know about the transportation tax and fee bill and know how that was kind of rammed down our throats, completely partisan, on completely partisan lines, opposed by 94% of the people that testified, opposed based on all the polling that we have as well. So Senator Starr and I and Jason Williams here with Oregon Watchdog are chief petitioners on a referendum to bring this to the voters. This is really, when you're in the minority, this is the last opportunity we have to really let the voters weigh in. When you have something this egregious, where the governor just does this and the Democrat leadership does this without any acknowledgement of where the people are at, this is what the referendum system's for. We put it in place in the Constitution in 1902, and we've used it a number of times to get rid of egregious taxes. This is another opportunity. So what it will be is a referendum for an up-down vote on whether Oregonians want to jack up the gas tax 15%, whether they want to double the statewide payroll transit tax, and whether they want to jack up their vehicle registration fees and vehicle title fees. That's what we're bringing to the voters. And we've had an overwhelming response so far in support for that.
So Ed, I want to also, Jason, we'll give you a chance to talk here too, but the process of what's going on, I think people are confused as to how long the governor has to sign the bill and where we're at with that. I want to give a shout out real quick. I don't know if he's watching or not tonight, but I spoke with Eddie Renfro last night, and I know that you've been in touch with Ed too, and he is really hitting the ground, mobilizing the troops, and he's doing amazing work. The number of people that he is bringing to the table to get this thing signed when we finally get it out there is pretty amazing. And I listened to him school podcaster yesterday, which was pretty amazing. I talked to him late last night, and I'm like, man, you're doing great work. Keep up what you're doing. Good job. And Ed, he has nothing but good things to say about you. I think you are his new hero. But
well, he's great, and he's all over this, and he's one of this broad coalition that we're building. That is helping get the word out in their own grassroots circle of conservative activists. And I love it. That's exactly what we need for a grassroots revolution in this state. And so Ed is doing a great job with that. And I want to repeat several times during this, notaxor.com is where people need to go to let us know you're interested in signing the petition when it comes out. And also check the box that indicates you want to volunteer, because we need volunteers to help gather signatures. This will be the easiest signature gathering effort in the world. 90% of the people you talk to will sign this petition. Yeah. So But
Real quick about notaxor.com. So I had a crackpot on my Facebook. I'm sure a Democrat, I don't know, but barely not anonymous, but whatever. Made the comment, wow, that looks like the one, what do you call it? Data collection site, beware. And I'm like, I was going to delete the comment. Instead, I said, well, duh, of course it's a data collection site. We're trying to get a grassroots movement going here, and we're trying to do something good. That's how you do it. You have to collect the data.
Yeah.
You have to get people in front of this thing.
the way this works, and part of the challenge is the governor is dragging her feet, and I'll go through the timing here, is we need to hear from people who are interested so we can reach out to them in a timely fashion. That's why we have that site set up.
Yeah.
So the way this thing works is we had sine die on October 1st, and we have 90 days to gather signatures for a referendum. It's in the Constitution. That means we have until December 30th. But the loophole in this whole crazy thing is we can't gather signatures until the governor signs it into law. She has 30 working days to sign it into law. She could have signed it already. So we feel that she's dragging her feet to take away valuable time that we have to gather signatures. How democratic, how representative of the people, right? When you talk about bullies, this is a bully tactic.
Yep, absolutely.
In fact, I was talking to a reporter and telling him how outrageous this was, that she could drag her feet on this and deny the vote of the voice of the people. And he said, well, you know, if the shoe was on the other foot, you'd be doing the same thing. And I said, the hell I would.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be ramming through a bill that the majority of Oregonians are opposed to.
No.
But she can drag this out till November 12th. And then we figure it'll take us maybe 3 working days to get the Secretary of State to get all their paperwork in order. We may not be able to gather signatures until the 18th, which is basically 43 calendar days. And we need 100,000 signatures. This is a daunting task. I view it as a challenge. Jason views it as a challenge. We're going to do this. We're going to show them we are organized, and we are not going to take this crap anymore.
Yeah, I really think and that's why the notaxor.com site is so important, because that gives us a targeted group of people. Once we pull the trigger on this thing, we could say, okay, go, and we can get this out here. Jason, what say you?
Well, as I have a sign behind me, no tax without a vote. This does come down to the COTEC and the politicians saying to us to shut up because they have left us out. We saw this during session where they introduced the ideas but didn't give a bill number. And when there was a bill number, they refused to say how much money it was going to raise until the day before the hearing. And so lawmakers were left in the dark. The Oregonian was complaining, let us see the numbers. And they hid the numbers. They did all this stuff. They ramrodded it. And now that they passed it, we're trying to give voters a right to vote to say on it with this petition that we're going to put up at No Tax OR. And the fact that the governor is going to run out the clock means she is telling us, hey, I'm going to stop you. At the same moment, she is just like leaving the state on a near $250,000 trip to Asia and just leaving the voters behind. But I do want to say this is going to hurt. It's going to cost many families over $300 in higher DMV fees, higher wage taxes, and higher gas tax, all within this one tax. That $300 bill, it was in the news just a few weeks ago, that 40% of Oregonians could not afford a $400 emergency. So if they can't afford a $400 emergency, why are we slapping them with a $300 tax increase? I see these people that cannot afford to pay for their car. And when they're going to get harder, they're just going to have to really, it's really going to be very painful. And I think that's unfortunate. And as it's been so bad, the politicians, as I said, look what the legislature did. They funded $10 million for a Portland mega restaurant.
Or flea market.
Not what tax dollars are for. We're not here to build restaurants.
You're not wrong, and I remember that went through my committee when the James Baird Market, they wanted $10 million for it. Of course, they did it in the Christmas tree bill, and so many projects like infrastructure projects in the rest of the state for small cities and rural areas did not get funded in the name of funding $10 million to a private, I call it a flea market, but I guess they'll have some food trucks or whatever they call it in Portland. Frankly, I'm kind of over Portland right now. I'm not too worried about Portland. I'm worried about the rest of the state more than I'm worried about Portland. But I had it, and some other crackpots that we're talking about. I see that, Ross. Thank you. $300 is some nice cheap parts. Absolutely, yes. I have a blown motor. Thank you. But not speaking of Ross as the crackpot, but I had some other crackpots on my Facebook make some comments about, well, how is Oregon supposed to pay for the infrastructure? How is Oregon supposed to pay for the roads? That's what we do. Well, I don't. So number one, I will not respond to people that post anonymously and say stupid things. So if you post anonymously and say, hey, thank you for being such a great guy, I'll probably say thank you. But if you post anonymously and try to bully me, I mean, I can't flip you off over the phone, but I mean, I'm happy to do it. Anyway.
Well, can we talk about the governor laid out a false choice to Oregon?
Well, that's what I was going to get to. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, and she's still doing it now. She's actually threatening people. Don't sign that referendum, or you're not going to have your roads maintained. That is complete bull crap.
You can say bullshit. It's okay.
When I say bullshit, okay.
Yeah, Justin will edit it.
Bullshit, and she knows it. The false choice. Even people on the other side of the aisle know that's a false choice.
Yeah.
Here's the truth of this thing. We are spending money on things that most Oregonians would be outraged by and would not prioritize over snowplows and maintaining roads. We as in the legislature in the past, it wasn't me and Virgil, it was some other ones, hamstrung ODOT in the way they can use their funds. So I think it was 2017 when the last massive transportation package came through. They jacked up the gas taxes, but only a fraction of that, I think it's 6%, can go to maintenance. The rest goes to construction projects. Also, they've allocated certain money for green projects and car chargers and projects, and you've got 26 million going to DEI. A lot of things that Oregonians would not prioritize over basic road maintenance. We know, I mean, look at the polling. So we have all that in the backdrop. We can solve this problem with legislation that doesn't require any additional revenue. We can solve it. I'd also point to the fact we're looking at boondoggle projects. This I-5 bridge.
Oh, yeah. $9 billion.
$10 billion bridge. It's a $3 billion bridge. We could build that thing for $3 billion, and it would actually be high enough so ships could go under it. Wouldn't that be amazing? The Rose Quarter project is inflated. That's federal dollars, but it's also state dollars that have been allocated that could be diverted and reused for road maintenance. This is a made-up problem. She's threatening Oregonians. She's threatening so you don't sign this referendum. We got to call her out on it. And I tell you, we talked about it on Rick. This is a turning point for Oregon. We can pull this off. This sends a super strong message. Things are not going to be the same in the state anymore when we get this on the ballot.
Well, yeah, Ross mentioned this, and I was about to say it too, but I believe, if I recall, the governor said that he was going to lay everybody off by October 15th or something like that, because we had an emergency. We were running out of money, but evidently we're not out of money because nobody's got laid off.
Well, and they're hiring more people.
And they're hiring more people.
You're actually hiring.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Remember, this was an emergency session to raise your taxes, and now the governor is dragging her feet on signing the emergency bill. Yeah. I think you should remind her every single day what she's doing. And every single day that goes by without signing this, she's denying Oregonians the opportunity to weigh in. It's about as undemocratic as you can be.
And she's scared, I believe, because she did not show up at the hearing during the special session. She sent her spokesperson, who she began her argument with, "We cannot ensure your safety if we do not get more of an increase of the increase we had. Gas tax went up 5% last year. They say, well, we've got to do another 15%. I think they are very afraid of this. I think the people are behind it. And I want to let you know, we have been here before. Way back in 2003, the politicians passed $1 billion tax increase. Yeah. I was a chief petitioner on a referendum drive. My goodness, the people rallied. We put that to the ballot. That $1 billion tax increase roundly defeated, no matter how much they outspend us. So I just want to let you know, people, you feel a little bit kind of on edge, like, hey, can we do this? Yes, we can. We've done it before. We'll do it again. There is a spirit out there where people are saying enough is enough. I feel it on my phone calls ringing off the hook.
Yeah.
And this can be done.
But we can't let that spirit die. And that's the problem. People have short memories. You know, the legislature's out of session. People are back to their jobs. They don't really care. and we need to make sure, and I think this notaxor.com site is definitely going to help keep people thinking about it, and podcasts, frankly, these podcasters, they help. I mean, what Rick Dancer's doing, what we're doing, and many others, it's good stuff, and we need to keep on doing it. And Trent, we haven't heard from you yet tonight, so you got to say something.
Man, I'm just soaking it in. I like every bit of it. What I'm really excited about is our viewership and the people, the response that you guys are getting to what you're telling us. You guys can do out there. We've had how many views in the last 30 days?
I haven't got a recent update, but we were at 463,000 views in 14 days.
Guys, replay this, send it to your friends. Yep. This right here, just by that, could make that difference.
Yeah.
So you want to get involved, get involved.
Yeah, that's great. People have to get involved, and people need to recognize the significance of this moment. If we do this, and we will do this, we will get this on the ballot, and these taxes will go down in flames. We're sending a message to the governor and the legislature that we're not putting up with their bullshit anymore.
Right.
The next time you try and pull this, what's that? Well,
I was just going to say, we know that we can beat these taxes because Salem tried to pass a payroll tax and it lost by 87% when it came to out. Yeah, I think people are tired of it. We've had multiple attempts in different areas of jurisdictions where they've tried to just take money out of people's bank accounts without a real thoughtful plan, and frankly, without asking. The dictatorship, I've seen the word come through in the comments several times, is true. We should never have anybody in leadership that thinks they're a dictator over their neighbors, and that's what we have. It's not just the governor, it's also the Democrat Party. I don't think I've ever been more frustrated in my time as an adult and somebody engaging in the systems that we all deserve to be a part of than I have in the last 2 years.
It's sad, and Ed and I both gave and actually Representative Yunker as well gave speeches up in Columbia County this last weekend.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, but those are great folks. I love those folks.
Tracy Brumbles is a good friend of mine.
Yeah, Tracy's awesome.
Awesome.
But we all three gave speeches. Mine was a little impromptu because I wasn't planning on giving a speech, but I gave one at the end, and I reminded everybody that, people say, well, they'll never take my diesel pickup away. They'll never take my hot rod away. They don't have to. All they have to do is raise the price of fuel to the point, and the registration, this is the next step in that, to the point where you can't afford it.
Right.
And then you're not going to be able to drive it legally, and you're not going to be able to put fuel in it to make it go down the road. And that's happened in Denmark, $8.50 a gallon for gas. I don't even know what the diesel price is there, but nobody drives gasoline-powered vehicles in Denmark. They drive electric cars, and that's why they can't afford the gasoline.
But just to be the devil's advocate here, like, they can continue to raise fees all they want, but if you don't have anybody to enforce that crap, then there's no way that they're going to be able to do anything about it. And the rate that the Democrats are anti-police, anti-enforcement, anti-accountability, and the way that they just keep taking and taking and taking, like, public safety is generated from general fund dollars at the local levels, cities and counties specifically, with the revenue leaving the state with jobs. Like, at some point, like, we're going to meet in the middle of this bridge. There's going to be nobody there to hold me accountable with all their regulations. So, well,
and that said, I know people. I just had a conversation with one of my local constituents, and he said he hasn't registered any of his cars in like the last 3 years.
I just on my way down here was behind a vehicle on I-5 that had tags from 2019. Yeah. So, like,
that's already happening. I've heard that in some other parts of the state.
Yeah. Well, I know, and listen, I want to make sure, because I don't ever want my podcast to be a negative message. I want the podcast to be a message of, we have this, we got your back, and we can fix this, and this is how we're going to fix it. And I think that's where I'm headed with this thing. I don't want to leave anybody tonight saying, oh, the world is coming to an end, because it's up to you guys. It's up, not you personally, but it's up to everybody that's playing, all of us. Go ahead, Ed.
Danielle brought up a hopeful point, like the Salem wage tax was killed. Hey, in Portland last year, the capital gains tax ballot measure was killed. We were involved in like 7 big property tax fights in the past 2 years that we won. We can win this. And I think this is the statement that people will make if we bring this to the ballot and we shoot it down. The voters will be right back brought to the table, because they have been ignoring us, and nothing like a big fat defeat of an unnecessary tax. They can't defend it. All they can say is, we can't keep the roads safe if you don't give us this extra increase.
Yeah.
So,
And it is
yeah.
true. It's about a priority, as Representative Diehl just said a bit ago. They have enough money at ODOT to prioritize safe roads and communities. It's a choice. The governor is choosing to not prioritize safety and jobs, frankly.
Yeah. Well, and also let's remember that this, once it's on the ballot, that brings the voters to people are gonna vote on this.
Right.
And the conservative voices are gonna be way louder than the people that want to raise your taxes. Well, guess what happens when conservative people vote? We pick up seats.
That's right.
So this is helping us in the tax world, but it also helps us in our legislature as well, and our governor.
That's the real message right there is not only do we want to defeat this, it's time to change the government. I hate the cliche. It's time for a change, but darn
It
it.
is.
I mean, we have some good stuff that we could be working.
Yeah.
On. Go ahead, Ed.
This isn't just a conservative thing. This issue crosses partisan lines. We actually have a bipartisan coalition. We have Democrats reaching out to us. Hey, where can I sign? How can I sign? This crosses the line, a lot of different boundaries. And I really, to make this work, we need those volunteers to help us gather signatures.
That's right.
We're going to have 100,000 signatures to gather. That'll give us the buffer we need. We'll have about 43 days to do that. And our goal is to have 500 active volunteers all across the state that are willing to do this. And so I'm asking, I know there's a lot of people that chime in on social media. They might write letters. I'm asking you to get out of your comfort zone a bit, be willing to grab petition sheets, be willing to sign people up. We're going to show these guys that we're not going to put up with this crap anymore. NoTaxOR.com is where you can go. Click that volunteer box. And we're going to have an organizational call on Monday evening. So if you click that box, you know how that we'll be reaching out to you and let you know the details about that call.
I have a question. Actually, Jason, I think I know the answer to this, but I'll let one of you answer this. Jason might be the better one to ask. But if we do get this on the ballot, when will it be voted on? It won't be a special election, right? It will be part of, and then go ahead.
I believe some of that's in question. I believe the legislature can have the role of sending it when to go to the ballot. And
Right. The way it's set up now, it'll show up on the general election ballot
In 26.
in 26. But if the Democrats even want to get more egregious, they could do a bill in the short session to move it to the primary. That's my understanding. That they could push that along. If you really want to,
Just part on their part.
If it was an emergency, they would.
already shove this down our throat, and then if they move it, I mean, they're really trying to deny the will of the voters. But they could do that. But right now, it's heading to the general election in 2026.
yeah, and that's why I think that they will pick a date that in order to get a lower voter turnout. They've also in the past passed bills to allow them to change, to have control over the ballot title in the, and so there's all kinds of tricks, but you know what? In the end, they don't work. People see it. My very super liberal mom, who just cannot stand Trump, and as a Sierra Club lifetime member, she sees it. It's like, man, what is this tax? And so people know it, and this is why when Ed talks about, boy, if we just have 500 people go out and get 200 signatures, this is a type of petition that you can walk your neighborhood and you're going to get an 80 to 90% signage rate on.
Well, I plan on it.
You can grab 200 signatures in an afternoon.
Yeah. Oh, I plan on it, and I think our Republican Party's ready for it as well.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna switch gears for a second. We have a question that came in from. And I hate Get Up Facebook accounts. I just hate those because it's BS or you put your real name on it, but we're going to give you the satisfaction of an answer. This is from Dante's Inferno. How would you, as a governor, address the situation if the president sent in the military to police the peaceful protesting?
So I'll just say that, first of all, I don't know what city you're living in or viewing into, but they're not peaceful protests. So if I was the governor today, this wouldn't be happening because I would work with the federal administration and I would prevent what's been happening in Portland for over 100 days from existing. I would work with Mayor Wilson and find a way to establish common ground. We have to have all jurisdictions play nicely in the sandbox. And the fact that Mayor Wilson and Governor Kotek are gaslighting people in this state, in this country, to me, just is infuriating. I was just in Portland. I've been up there a few times. I've gone down to the scene. You're not going to see me on social media because I'm not in it for the clicks. I'm in it for the truth. And the truth is that I think you're a troll, Dante, and you should ask that question differently. Because I do not believe that those are peaceful protests. And if I was the governor and I had a situation get out of control, you better freaking believe that I would be asking for support to make sure that there is peace and safety in our streets. There are too many people that live in that neighborhood. The police chief said this is one block of all the blocks in Portland. That one freaking block also matters. It matters to me as a resident of Marion County and the jurisdiction that I need to protect. And it's infuriating that we have people lying to the public. Like, all day, Dante, like, let's have this conversation, because what you're doing is fake news.
I would like to answer that too, because the Taxpayer Association, we were down there this very weekend, and we spent a lot of time watching what happened in front of that ICE building. And I just want to give people the facts that's missing in the news. The ICE building front door has been destroyed and is no longer there. The building next door to them, the school, has shut down, is unsafe for kids. The apartment across the street, they can't open up their windows because of the tear gas. The apartment manager says you cannot have family and friends visit you during this time. And when they call the police say they can't help. So these people, which mostly are senior citizens, are trapped in an apartment unit where there is rioting going on for 100 days straight, and they cannot even get friends to come in to help them. They can't open up their window, and they can't get the police to respond. I tell you, it is a shame that the ICE people cannot leave their own building without having 20 guards give them an escort out. The federal government has a right to do the federal action to help protect those federal agents. So I just tell you, we saw it with our own eyes. You could see it on the live stream video as well.
It's called dumpster fire.
It is a picture file, and there's actually several like feeds that you can go watch the live participation of these not peaceful protesters exist in their space. And frankly, like, get a job. Like, if that's what you're doing, then you're being
That is their job, Danielle.
Yeah, I think that is really a disservice to all of us. Like, I am all about
I think you offended-
peaceful
you offended
protesting.
You offended Dante.
Yeah, well, you know what, Dante? The way you asked that question was this: that you were trying to bait me into some bullshit answer. And I can read. I have an education, and I read your words.
It just blows me away when we have our leadership, like Danielle said, gaslighting and saying there's nothing wrong, this is calm, everything's fine. Just look at the building. You tell me that building is fine and calm. It's got gross graffiti all over. It's boarded up. It's got this wire fence all around it. That is not because it's a safe, calm part of town. They're completely gaslighting us, and I just can't believe that. And I want to mention there's a lady, the lady that lives in that community right next door. She sued the city
And lost.
because they weren't enforcing their own laws. And then the judge, who's a former attorney general, said, well, you're right. They are violating the law, but Portland isn't required to enforce their own laws. What kind of a message does that send to regular Oregonians?
It sounds to me, Representative Diehl, like the same message that she sent as the attorney general and left the rest of the state to deal with her failures as the head attorney of Oregon, which is why none of our public safety systems, in my opinion, are safe. Like, let's talk about victims' rights, because she's the one that tanked that whole entire industry when she was there.
Yeah, it's going south, and hopefully we hit the bottom eventually. Listen, we're getting close here. We got about 7 minutes left, and I want to touch on one last thing. I know that most of the folks watching on here are probably local, and yes, I'm watching what's going on at Roseburg High School. No, I'm not happy about it. Today, I had an anonymous poster, another crackpot, say something about do I defend the girls, and I don't know if you guys are aware the transgender issue, using the women's bathroom, and here's the deal, and I'll just say this, and I don't, you can like me or hate me for it. I mean, the fact of the matter is, you got to vote. You got to get out there. If you don't like the way things are going, you have to change it. Right now, state law is in favor of not the locals, right? It's in favor of the transgender kid. I don't wish any harm on anybody, especially the kids, especially the ones that are actually being singled out right now. I'm aware of it. I'm monitoring it. I've been in touch with Jared Cordon, the superintendent of the schools. I'm also been in touch with some of the board members as well. And I got to tell you, the board members are strapped right now because they don't have a good out. Because I know most of them would say they don't want what's going on, but the law's not on their side. Unfortunately, most of the funding that we get for our schools comes from feds, and it's funneled through Oregon. And do we want to shut our entire school down, because of the lack of funding? Maybe this is the hill to die on. I don't know, but it's been tried before and it didn't work out. So tomorrow night's school board meeting, if I had one message for everybody, that would be please stay calm. Please don't get violent. I know it's going to be an ugly scene. Those school board members do care about your kids. I know them. I know most of them. I think they do care, and just try to keep calm. That's the best I can ask for. And opinions are gonna go where they're gonna go.
Yeah.
All right. With that said,
Like two quick things.
You can.
Great. Look me up at DanielleBethelForGovernor.com, and I'm on all the social channels. And just quickly, Lebanon High School needs your votes.
Yeah.
So if you go to the Lebanon High School Facebook page, they're in a race nationally for $1 million in a T-Mobile investment to repair their stadium, which has been condemned. You can vote every single day with as many email addresses as possible until October 25th. It's the only high school in Oregon. We're in Douglas County. We're in a rural community, and every high school needs attention. But right now, Lebanon High School needs all of you to show up for them. So I hope that you will all go search it out. And if you need to find location, go to my website. No, I'm sorry, my Facebook page. And I've talked about it extensively because I want to help them get that $1 million.
that's awesome.
Thank you.
It's awesome. I've been sharing that too. Interestingly, Danielle, you didn't bring it up, but the governor was asked to do a very simple little video promoting Lebanon High School, like all the other governors have done in other parts of the country. She refused.
I know.
Refused to do that.
I thought I was negative enough today.
It's a very simple thing. Oh, I need to point out a dude named Alex Scarlatos.
He's-
Yeah.
Now got another bid on the bridge. He can do it for $2 billion.
I thought that's pretty cool.
You're hired. Officially.
He's a rep and a bridge contractor. I love it.
And a new minority leader. Isn't that right?
He's
Minority leader.
So we have about 3 minutes left. I want to give everybody a last word. So let's go ahead and start with you, Jason.
Yes, well, the governor's not helping the high school because she's in Korea, so that's good there. She would help. Yes, as said, go to no Oregon tax.
No tax Oregon.
You should, no tax Oregon OR, and you could also go to OregonWatchdog.com. We've been around for 25 years. It's a daily news ticker. Be hopeful. This is a change we've been waiting for.
Hey, thanks for joining us, Ed.
Well, he stole my thunder. Go to notaxor.com. Check the volunteer box. We can do this. This is our grassroots opportunity. This is a turning point. Let's show them that they cannot ignore us. Let's take back our state.
Amen. Trent.
Hey, I think now's the time for our discontent. And I think, I think the best revenge is going to be cold. And I'm telling you, if you're listening to us right now, get out there, start talking now. And the local party here, we're going to have some stuff coming out shortly to support these guys.
Yeah, good.
Oh, can I add support Danielle Bethell for governor?
And I'm going to give you the last one.
I have an event coming up down here in Douglas County in a couple of weeks. I have a local friend that's going to host it. It's a meet and greet and a fundraiser. So if your local community would like to come out and meet me in person, I'd love to have you there. You could email me at team@DanielleBethelForGovernor.com for more details on how to connect to that. And I just hope that everybody looks into me and asks questions. I promise that I'm a listener, but I'm also not going to back down when I believe the right thing is ahead of me, and I'm going to chase it down. So let's get Oregon going in a different direction and make it affordable for me and my kids.
Amen. So with that said, again, I want to thank our sponsors one more time, Twin Peaks Off-Road, and also Diamond Lake Mini Storage and Little Mill Media, who actually it produces the podcast for us. I want to thank all of you for joining us because this is why it's successful. People want to hear what we have to say. And the fact is, there's no BS here. What we're talking about today and tonight, Ed, you and I are both in the legislature. We don't lie. We tell things how we the legislature may lie, but we don't. Yeah, I know the comments are still coming.
Mariners win.
And so when I hear things, comments and, just crackpot comments, it's like, look, this is facts, guys. This is where we're at right now. This is how we fix this. Either join it, fix it, or be happy that you're paying all those extra fees. That's just the way it is. But anyway, with that, guys, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for all of our audience. We've got a great audience tonight. I see the numbers have stayed high. We've been getting several thousand views just within a day after we've put it on YouTube. You can follow us on Spotify, Amazon Music, where else? Apple Music, on 13 other platforms as well as YouTube. So please follow us, like us, And keep watching. We're going to do this every week.
That's right.
We're going to do it right on through election. So you're going to know what's really going on, and we're going to tear into the legislature and how things really work. And we're never going to stop. We're just going to keep right on going. So thank you again, and y'all have a good night. And thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Not all. Bye-bye.
I,
Bye-bye.